Hello, you're watching Ellie from Elementary Paper Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK. Today I'm going to be showing you a couple more stamp sets recently acquired, and this one is Arctic Bears, and this is from the Autumn and Winter 2021 Stampin' Up mini catalogue. I thought this was a beautiful stamp set, and I thought it would make some different kind of Christmas cards. I'm also using another one from from the annual catalogue, which is called After the Storm. And I bought this, I thought it had some lovely elements that I hadn't seen on any other stamp set. And today I wanted to use just this little cloud here. I've not found a cloud like these on any other stamp set, and I really like the idea of that. So just going to use that one, and that's just to create some of the background on the larger card. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm also using one of our new, what are these called? Masks, sorry. I think they're called adorning decoration. I can't remember now. But these are in the mini catalogue as well, a pack of 4 different ones. So I'm going to use that one, which is the snowflakes, along with that cloud, just to create a kind of abstract background here. And I'm just going to bring in that awful piece of scrap that looks horrible, but it doesn't matter. And I'm going to be using Coastal Cabana with a blending brush, and as usual I'm going to load up my brush with the ink, pat off the excess, and then I'm just coming over very lightly with the brush. I don't want anything heavy here, and just to create that very light bit of interest on this card. So didn't plan that very well, I need to move that over. And as you'll see, some of this hardly shows, and that's the kind of effect I want. I find it something very light in the background gives you a little bit of an interest without overtaking the rest of the design. When you're using stencils, do be careful not to go right over the edges, because you don't want these hard lines in your design. You can of course take some paper and just mask off that area in case you think you might accidentally go over there. So I've just dropped that in some water and pop the lid back on that one. So that's that done, and now I'm just going to use that cloud with Smoky Slate. Again, I just want something light. It's always a good idea to open your card when you're stamping on it, because when it's folded it's not flat and it could impair your stamped image at the end. I'm just thinking I better bring this back actually, because I might stamp over the side with my clouds. So when you want something just light in the background, it's always a good idea to load up your stamp and stamp it off to see how light it is, because our stamp pads sometimes are heavier inked than usual. So this one actually is already nice and light. So I'm just going to come in and pop these clouds just there. As I say, this is all just a suggestion of something in the background. I don't want anything heavy, and that's just going to come round here. I'm just going to, actually I don't want to do that because I think it might not be, I'll get that sort of ridge that I was talking about just now. that's it. So that's all I want on my base card. And incidentally, this card measures 8 1/4 by 5 3. Oh, actually it's 6, this one. And I'm going to mount the work I'm doing now on top of that. From the Arctic Bears, I'm now going to use this stamp here, and I'm taking a piece of our Whisper White cardstock, or Basic White it's called now, and this stamp takes a little bit of working out. So do you remember when I showed my unboxing, I showed that I always stamp everything. When I get the stamp, I get them out and I stamp them all onto a piece of paper so that I can see what they look like. And this one here, when you look at the stamp like that, it's very hard to see how it goes. So by doing this ahead of time, I know now that it's this part here is that part. So I know that this goes at sort of quite a strange, it looks like a very strange angle. But once you've stamped it, you can see then where you're going with it. So I'm going to take that one there, and I want this to be, and that's a very good stamping for me. I wanted this again. I don't want it really dark. I want it quite a nice pale colour. And then I want to stamp the these little bits further down. So I want to create a kind of cove look here, and I'm going to bring it in sort of there. Okay, now I want somewhere for my polar bears to stand. So again, I'm just going to stamp this to make sure I get it the right way up. And I'm going to put my polar bear kind of here. So there's a little bit of ground for her to stand on. And I'll just put another bit there just to make it continuous. And some pieces being darker than others, which is fine because obviously it gives you a sort of look of distance, etc., if you have different shades. Then next I'm going to use some blending brushes to add some colour to the sky. So for this I'm going to use the new In Colour Pale Papaya and also some So Saffron. So sorry about this, but I'm going to bring this horrible bit of paper in again. So with the Pale Papaya, I just want to make a little sort of bit of sky here, as if the sun is just about to come up. The sun's behind the cliffs here. So I'm going to use a mask to mask off these cliffs. So what I did was I simply stamped the image onto a large post-it note and cut it out, but I'm just going to stick this down just slightly below the stamped line. And then I'm going to take a small blending brush because I just want the area to be here of this Pale Papaya. So load up my brush, dab off the harsh colour and just come on very gently with this now. Remember, I don't want a lot of this colour and I only want it in this area here, very close to the cliff in this corner. And I'm sort of blending it out from the inside there. And then I'm picking up the So Saffron, which doesn't seem to want to open today, using a larger blending brush. It's a larger area to cover. Tap off that excess dark piece there and then come in and just lightly fill in the top area of this. It doesn't have to be dense. To have some lighter and darker areas is very good here. So I'm happy with that. So if I take off my mask now, I hope the effect I wanted comes out correctly, which is that the sun is just coming out here, is throwing a light golden colour across the sky. So next I want to create the look of the sea, and I want a kind of bay here. So this is all going to be water here, but I want to sort of keep an oval shaped here so it looks like it's just coming in. Now again, this is going to have to be quite random. If you do this more than once, it will look different each time. So I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana again, and I just want to pick up some colour. And so if you turn it upside down and squash it down, it goes into the lid. And I've just got that on my fingers as I opened it. Now I just want to take my brush into a little drop of water, not too much. You really don't want a lot of water because this is only cardstock and we don't want it to warp. Now I'm really going to come in very randomly here with quite rough kind of brush strokes, and this is fine because it's water, so it's not going to be really calm and level. It's not going to be really even. And then I'm getting a finer brush to come in here and just make some little edges as it comes round into a kind of little bit of a curve here, so you get that feeling. Okay, now I think that's enough. Don't overdo this, as I've often said. Less is definitely more. So let's just take that away. The next thing I'm going to do is to stamp my bears. So we've got Mummy Bear and Baby Bear. I'll put our bear on that one and our Baby Bear on this one. So I'm using the smoky slate again, just to stamp Mum and her little cup. Adorable. So within the set, or with the set, you can buy the dies, and I like to mount mine onto a piece of magnetic sheet, which I then stick to a piece of sturdy cardstock. I use an old plastic cellophane pack, and I just slot it in there and keep it inside my stamp set, and then I know where it is. So I'm going to take the large die and the smaller one. I'm going to pop them on there around my two stamped images. It's a good idea to take some post-it note, low tack tape, whatever you like to use, and run that through the die cutting machine. So here we are, we've got our Mummy and Baby Bear all cut out ready. So I like to use a couple of dimensionals to pop these in place. But before I do that, I'm actually going to mount the card because I find it easier to stick together if it's flat. So let's just pop you two over there. I feel I should name them, but I can't think what to call them. So I'm going to use some tear and tape for this and just do my usual trick of when I find the end, pop the tape down like so. And then I take my tweezers and take the edges away. Now I've cut this piece of Coastal Cabana. I'm just going to hold it up as I can judge it better. I've cut it just 1/8 of an inch larger so that I'm giving myself a very narrow border all around the outside. Now I haven't stuck that straight, but that's the beauty of only removing the backing on the corners, because you can then move this a little. Okay, so then just remove the tape. Like so. And that's when I'm going to place it on the larger card, because I do prefer larger cards to smaller ones. So that's why I stamp my image on a small one and then I mount it on a larger card and put my background in there. Before I actually do that, I am going to add seagulls here. Okay. And I'm going to use the grey again for these. I want this to be a very gentle looking card. I don't want anything too dark. Make sure they're the right way up. So just going to pop this one on with a bit of Tombow, which I've put into my fine tip applicator. And this one I want to go at a kind of jaunty angle, like so. So I've got Mummy and Baby Bear. Pop those on with the dimensionals. Actually, ooh, didn't want to do that with Baby Bear. If you do it quick, these will come off. That's better. Ooh, that was close. So I want Mummy to stand back, and I want Junior here to be stepping out behind. She's a little bit shy, so she doesn't want to be in front. She's just that little bit behind Mummy, poking her nose out there to see where they're going next. If I just hold that one there and put the baby in, you're going to make sure that they are standing on the piece of ground that we've made for them. You know, I mean, I think probably other people are going to think, well, that's a strange subject for a Christmas card. But for me, I saw the ice, the mountains, and the cold, snowy weather and thought, well, you know, that's representative of the Christmas season, the cold, snowy weather. And Christmas happens all over. So I'm just going to finish it off by using one of the sentiments. And this one is, right, I'm going to have to use a large piece of card because I don't have any small offcuts. This one is, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana. So just going to stamp that onto my basic white cardstock. Give it a couple of seconds for the ink to transfer. And then I'm just going to come in with my trimmer and just cut this out. I'm just giving it a little time to dry. So while I was away, I've cut a piece of Coastal Cabana. Actually, no, this one isn't Coastal Cabana. It's Pool Party. I don't have any Coastal Cabana, but the two match really well together. So I've just cut a piece that's, oh, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch larger all the way around. Just kind of guessed it, really. I'm just going to put one on top of the other, using that Tombow again. And then just to keep in with the raised bears, I'm going to just pop dimensionals on the back of this too. Pop that up in the corner there. And there we have our finished Christmas card, which I think is just enough, not over the top. Very different card. So just to remind you, we've used Arctic Bears from the mini catalogue and After the Storm from the annual catalogue. Hope you've enjoyed my video today, and please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, then please subscribe and share. On Facebook, you can follow my channel. There's a button for online shopping on my Facebook at the top, and if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to add a link to my online store in the description box below. Thanks again for watching. Bye bye for now.